Have you ever been to a medieval fantasy festival? Well, join us as we show you either what you missed or what you enjoyed at this year's 6th Annual Alabama Medieval Fantasy Festival. And we'll tell you what to expect as you plan your trip for next year's festival. This is an experience you won't want to miss.
I don't care what people say, tomorrow is too far away. We can leave and they can stay, cause I for one am never gonna change. Ever since I was a kid, knobby knees and lots of lip, I found it hard to listen when they told me to be quiet and to wait. I think they'd agree that's just not possible for me. I wanna shout, I wanna scream, I wanna dance, I wanna sing. I think you are just like me. Let's go see what we can see and sing a little louder for one.
Welcome to the Kingdom of Dragoncroft. I'm Sir Alexander Bright Helmston, the reigning champion of the joust.
It's Keith and Kim.
Kim and Keith.
And we're the Mississippi Gypsies.
This weekend we're in Greenville, Alabama.
For the Alabama Medieval Fantasy Festival.
We live and travel full-time in our RV.
Because we're carnies and filmmakers. We bring you Renaissance festivals, fairs, music events, and more.
So come along and enjoy the journey with us.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It'll help our channel grow.
Located near the beautiful and historic downtown of Greenville, Alabama, take exit 130 off the Interstate 10 and head north about 5 miles, and you'll find the fair on the right. So we arrived early Friday to help get set up and get the lay of the land.
Look, Kim and I are flatlanders.
Very hilly here.
And this is very hilly. So we get to work on our beach bodies in Alabama this weekend.
The vendors have been here all day, and for some, they'll be here all night, making sure that the market is prepared for the morning. Historically, these open-air markets were commonplace, where international merchants would gather to sell their goods. Come morning, this market will be filled with thousands of guests. And as the sun sets, the dinner bell is rung, and all gather for food and fellowship. Another common tradition is the drum circle, where musicians would gather with their instruments for an impromptu jam session. So I grabbed my djembe and we circled up. It was fun playing. We could have jammed all night. But we needed also to get prepared for the next day. We knew this was going to be fun.
You end up in a field watching a beautiful sunset. And in the morning, we'll see a beautiful sunrise and everybody be in costume and in character, rolling into the play. It's a good time. It is a good time. It's a good time.
But first, there was trouble brewing on the radar, and we got lucky. The storm stayed just north of us, so we got to witness a beautiful lightning show. Opening day and the place was packed as the crowds gathered at the gates, patiently waiting for the opening ceremonies to begin.
So I'm Thomas McDougall from Scotland. I've come here to unseat the English and take over this fair.
Wayfaring wanderers, rogues, scallywags, and of course, fellow fools.
And I'm his deputy, certainly dangerous. And together we are almost certainly dangerous. No relation.
Welcome one and all to the Kingdom of Dragoncroft. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah indeed! Behind these doors, their majesties have gathered the finest craftsmen the realm has to offer. Indeed, there be privateers, gypsies, and men-at-arms plying their trades and settling their squalors on the field of battle. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah indeed! Before we can begin, however, there are a few rules.
Before we open our gates to the masses, we must make known our laws of the land.
In case there be vagabonds or scoundrels about. Right here.
First and foremost, all weapons must be peacetime.
And now it's time to open the gates. Welcome to Dragoncroft. As the guests enter the kingdom, they are greeted by the various artists and performers of the festival. Photo opportunities start here and are abundant throughout the day. As the king and queen of the fair meet and greet all who enter, you are received and carried into the times by the bagpipes of Haggis Rampant. And just like that, this fair is in full swing. Now let's go check out the market and see what the vendors have for sale. This pirate was told to walk the plank. This is the prayer of the woods. And of course, Kim found a few things she liked.
This will look very cute with my fairy.
Tell me, good lady, what is a Mississippi?
Mississippi is a Mississippi hippie gypsy.
I believe they call that a tongue twister.
I do indeed.
All of the goods sold in market are handmade. Some are of the period, built, made, hammered, and sewn to the highest standards, and with the methods and tools used in the Middle Ages, from the late 5th century to the late 15th century. And although the golden age of piracy was the 17th to 18th centuries, they were known to exist long before that. So you'll also see pirates and pirate goods at market. Other goods sold in market might just be fantasy or whimsical. And of course, there are fairy goods. Markets are commonplace today and have been taking place since recorded history. Originally, they were much smaller, but in the medieval period between the 5th and 15th centuries, things escalated, and goods traveled further distances than ever before, and they became international markets.
Virginia Beach, Colorado.
That's the poison potion.
Oh,
Makes mushrooms grow out of your ear.
And great cities like Venice, Cairo, and Constantinople were born from medieval markets like this. So farmers would farm and craftsmen would labor all week, but really only about 20 to 25 hours per week, which was normal for the times. Then, at the end of the week, they would come to town and sell their goods. So market days were necessary once per week, which were also called fairs, a gathering of stalls for public entertainment. But festivals like this were associated with events, culture, and commemorations. They were known for their unique traditions. And you will see guests participating, like this knight bowing to a monk. The Dark Ages predated the 18th century Renaissance, which is why the Renaissance is called the Age of Enlightenment. These were the Dark Ages, predating it. So here, you'll see skulls, skeletons, bones, and even tarot and fortune-telling, which was created in the 15th century, but it wasn't popularized or used for divination until the late 18th century. There is a lot to learn and see at a festival like this. In fact, that's what it's here for. Preserving history. It's educational, all around, but it's also fun. And we'll show you the games, performances, and jousting in just a minute. I just wanted to give you a good look at the market so you could see what these vendors are selling. And all of these vendors can tell you better than I can all about these specific goods, their history, where they originated from, and what they're used for. It's also just fun to walk through the market and see what everyone is wearing. Because if this was an Amazon or eBay shopping cart, my basket would be full. And since this is not one of the big 6-week Renaissance amusement parks, as we like to call them, everything is way more affordable and cheaper. From admission to food, and all of the entertainment and games are free. I bought my first shield from this gentleman last year at another festival. You get to know people doing what we do, so I encourage you to stop by and talk with these folks. And even if they don't have what you're looking for, or say the right size or design, they either know where to find it, or they know how to make it. We were having so much fun in the market talking to everybody. We were already missing some of the performers and shows. So let's take a look at what we did manage to catch.
There will be music here, there, and everywhere this day.
The Queen wasn't kidding. There was music and entertainment everywhere you looked.
You have a sword. Well done. Well done.
Chariots along will roll it old. Chariots along will roll it old. Chariots along and we'll all hang on behind. Well, a day of dragon croft wouldn't do us any harm. Well, a day of dragon croft wouldn't do us any harm. And a day of dragon croft wouldn't do us any harm. And we'll all hang on behind.
Everywhere you looked, on each of the several market streets, there were singers singing, fiddlers fiddling, and characters of all sorts. They also had live demonstrations like this pirate encampment. They weren't always held up in caves. In fact, most of the time, this is the type of camp you would actually see in the tree line just off the shore. And this apothecary, weapons, and cooking demonstration, all of it was historically accurate. There was this blacksmithing demonstration. At a festival like this, all demonstrators are here specifically for educating. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. And right next to the blacksmith was the barber surgeon. He explained what surgery actually looked like during the era, but with a little humor, of course.
Yes. Very simple and easy treatment for that. You see, I removed the horns. In that case, you would no longer have any other growths on your head. Or,
I want it the other way around.
I could do the process of blood.
Aside from the street performers, in Dragoncroft, there are several stages as well, with scheduled showtimes. And since it's a medieval fantasy festival, guests are encouraged to dress up and play the part often, and are called to the stage to do so.
A brave and handsome king. Who will be my king today? Come here, my darling. What is your name?
My name's Andrew.
Andrew. You shall be our king.
Cooper, you're already on TV.
You're already on, man. Now you can't back out. We got you. We got you.
The 19th day, for many an hour, behind the castle walls. But the ending to our story is not what it seems at all.
They had sword fighting and fencing demonstrations, and right next to that is the Kingdom Hall, where employees and staff would gather, so you can see the way people would have behaved and interacted with each other. Right next to that was an open pit cooking demonstration, where they would not only cook, but offered samples, so you could try these old delicacies. After sampling, it's easy to see what kind of junk we put in our bodies in this current day and age. This stuff was all healthy, natural ingredients, and tasted great. So, it's off to stroll through the kingdom again and see what we can find and get into. And what did we find? Games. There was plenty to do. They had the foam, sword fighting, and this. Maybe you haven't heard of this. It's called rat puck. That's right. Use a stick and fling a rat into the box, just like a hockey puck. All rats were actually stuffed animals. No rats were harmed during the making of this game. Just egos if you lost. And now for the Queen's Parade.
We get to be in the Queen's Parade. We're gonna hand out beads.
Make way for the royal procession! Make way!
I got all the way up front.
Traditionally, the king and queen would come to market, and at times give gifts or coin to the needy in their kingdom. The jester or fool will run ahead and warn all of the king and queen's presence coming.
Look! It's the king and queen, they're coming! They're right there! Practice the bowings and the grovelings. I hear they're giving out tax refunds this year. Here come the king and queen! Here come the king and queen! You guys don't worry about it. Just stand back a little bit, okay? All right.
The Queen's Parade is heading to the jousting field, where, as custom permits, differences are settled with games, sometimes deadly, and this week, an English and Scottish camp shall do battle, and the King and Queen will oversee the competition and ensure fairness.
I'm Sir Alexander Bright Helmston, the reigning champion of the joust.
So I'm Thomas McDougall from Scotland. I've come here to unseat the English and take over this fair.
As the King and Queen take their seats, the Queen's Guard addresses the crowd, and the anticipation builds. A few jokes, a little taunting, and the knights are ready to take the field.
We hear these are English lands, but I say no more.
I present the Alexander Bright Helmston, protector of the realm.
All right, we got ourselves a challenge.
Did you bring the prisoners?
I thought you had the prisoners.
No, you were bringing the prisoners.
No,
Hey, seriously, these jousters, these guys are a riot. They've definitely got a good show.
In a joust, they always warm up with games. This is to not only warm up the riders, but also the horses.
Who here thinks it's for Scotland? I guess there's only one way we can really settle this kind of debate.
And now the Scots have grown tired of the English back and forth, and like any good Scotsman would do, it's time to take this fight to the ground.
Come on, Scotland! Get thing on the field. Look at me.
Now, I'm not going to tell you how this ends. You'll just have to see for yourselves at one of their upcoming shows. Check them out on Facebook for where they'll be next. Knights Errant Entertainment. Now it's time for Kim's favorite part, dressing up. So we got Kim into her fairy costume, and we had a fairy tea party to attend. They had an area for kids set up, where they could enjoy Kool-Aid and snacks with fairies. How cool is that? Plus, they read fairy tale stories, did some crafty things, and you could write a letter to a fairy and mail it. And this is one of our favorite things to do. Every festival should do this. We had a blast this weekend. It's a 2-day festival and we still didn't see it all. We missed some of the shows, like the belly dancing and reenactments. But this is a 35-acre kingdom, so there's a lot of ground to cover here. And at a fantasy festival like this, compared to a Renaissance fair, you'll see more participation from the guests interacting as well. It's very cool, entertaining, and educational, and I mean that. Everyone from the demonstrators to the lane actors and staff, including the vendors, are here to answer questions and provide information about the period. It's a great way to spend a weekend dressing up and playing a role. And we were told that next year they'll have even more demonstrations coming, like the mead making exhibit, where you can see how mead is made and you can try this tasty treat.
Hippie world, doing hippie dippy things. The sand will hit me.
Now, comparing a weekend festival like this to a big Ren Fair amusement attraction, the prices here are way lower. From tickets to merchandise, games, shows, demonstrations, and exhibits are always free. Donations are appreciated though, and they typically have more to do for the kids. Plus, why just read about it in a book? Come out and see, learn, and grow. Remember, Mark Twain once said, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness." One cannot remain in one corner of the earth all one's life and expect to grow. So I encourage you to get out, travel more, and hopefully we'll see you at the next Renaissance Fair.
We're going to be doing a lot of walking.
A lot of walking uphill.
Downhill, then back uphill. And what goes up must come down.
Beautiful land.
So when you're up, you're up. And when you're down, you're down. When you're only halfway up, you're halfway to the camper. That's about the midpoint.
For more information, you can message us on Facebook or email us at themississippigypsies@gmail.com.
Hippie world, doing hippie dippy things.